Even now, North Korea stands as one of the most secretive and controlled societies in the world. Much of what is known about its society, rigid authoritarian structure, and the lives of its citizens comes from the harrowing stories of those who have managed to escape, often overcoming unimaginable obstacles to do so. But what is the experience of a woman serving in North Korea's military? Did you know that some women are even coerced into becoming members of Kim Jong-un's infamous pleasure squads? This dark aspect of life remains hidden behind the regime's relentless propaganda. What motivates these women to take on such roles, and what does it reveal about living under the oppressive grip of North Korea's totalitarian rule? Life in the barracks is arduous. Soldiers sleep on mattresses stuffed with rice hulls, which absorb moisture and quickly become uncomfortable. Female soldiers endure cramped quarters with limited access to basic needs, including electricity and other essentials. Prior to 2015, female soldiers had to make do with improvised sanitary products, often using bandages due to a severe shortage of supplies, and the combination of harsh conditions and inadequate nutrition had lasting effects on their health and well-being. Conditions outside the barracks are no better. Showers typically involve cold water from hoses, and it's not unusual for small animals like frogs or snakes to slip through the pipes. These discomforts reflect not just a lack of basic infrastructure, but also the military's prioritization of control over care. Female soldiers face additional challenges within the military's strict hierarchy, where their needs are frequently overlooked. What do these conditions reveal about their experiences, and what do they say about the broader system in North Korea? Keep following as we uncover more hidden stories from North Korea and beyond, offering insights rarely seen elsewhere. For women in the North Korean military, a stark and controversial reality lingers in the form of Kim Jong-un's so-called pleasure squads. This disturbing practice, seen by some as an alternative path to military service, traces back to the rule of Kim Jong-un's grandfather, Kim Il-sung, who formalized these groups, locally known as Kipjumo. Though they were briefly disbanded after Kim Jong-il's death in 2011, reports suggest that Kim Jong-un reinstated them in 2015. These squads comprise women selected to perform various services for the leader and high-ranking officials, a practice that highlights a dark, controlled aspect of life in North Korea. According to reports, approximately 2,000 women are divided into 3 distinct groups within North Korea's secretive structure. The satisfaction team attends directly to the leader and top generals. The happiness team provides massages and comfort, while the third group performs music and dance at social gatherings. Under Kim Jong-il's leadership, a height limit was imposed for these women, who could not be taller than 165 centimeters, likely due to the leader's own height. Once selected, these young women were housed within the leader's residence and called upon to entertain top officials. Their service in these roles could span up to 10 years, after which they were typically arranged in marriages with military personnel. When Kim Jong-un first came to power, he disbanded the squads, reportedly distrusting those tied to his father's era, compensating each woman with approximately $44,000 and providing household items as a parting gift. However, 4 years later, in 2015, Kim Jong-un reinstated these squads. Despite their loyalty and resilience, female soldiers in North Korea face ongoing, intense challenges. Accounts from defectors reveal that many women endure harsh and often unjust situations. Those from less privileged backgrounds are frequently assigned to labor-intensive roles like construction, where conditions are even less secure. Although there may be options for reporting mistreatment, many refrain due to a deep fear of potential retaliation. Stories from defectors indicate that officers sometimes keep female soldiers beyond their assigned duties or perform unwarranted wellness checks under false pretenses. Speaking out about these injustices could jeopardize a woman's future, including her eligibility for the influential Korean Workers' Party, whose membership opens doors to social and professional advancement. Exclusion from the party can result in a lifetime of limited opportunities. These pressures often silence women, leaving them to face difficulties quietly. If a woman were to unexpectedly become pregnant, She's expected to handle the situation discreetly to avoid intervention. Military procedures for such cases are often described as emotionally and physically taxing, with minimal medical support provided, placing an additional heavy burden on these women. The difficulties for women in North Korea's military go beyond basic challenges, as strict disciplinary practices make life even tougher. Former soldier Jennifer Kim described a culture of harsh discipline and demanding expectations. In the military, even one person's error could result in punishment or additional duties for the entire group, enforcing a system of shared responsibility and constant vigilance. Kim shared that their routines were grueling, with soldiers sometimes ordered to stand in freezing temperatures with minimal clothing to build resilience. At times, they would be required to run up to 100 laps in full gear, underscoring the emphasis on endurance. One particularly demanding drill involved placing their cold, wet hands on metal surfaces, a practice designed to foster mental toughness in extreme conditions. These accounts highlight the intense and disciplined environment of North Korea's military, where resilience, teamwork, and obedience are ingrained daily. How do you think these practices compare to those in other militaries? Feel free to share your thoughts below. Life for female soldiers involves not only traditional military drills, but also extensive labor tasks, including farming and construction. It's a setting where every member is expected to contribute fully, yet women bear extra responsibilities due to gender-specific roles. Leaked footage reveals female soldiers laboring in fields, hauling firewood, and carrying heavy rocks on their backs. But their duties don't stop there. Alongside these physically demanding tasks, female soldiers take on domestic chores that their male counterparts don't perform. Nicknamed cooking pot lid drivers, they are responsible for preparing meals and maintaining the unit's cleanliness. After a day of intense labor, these women return to cramped barracks, typically shared with about 24 others. Each soldier is assigned a small bunk with a set of drawers, and it's mandatory to display photos of national leaders above each bed, now including Kim Jong-un in addition to Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. To make matters worse, these duties are often carried out without adequate food or basic necessities. Reports reveal that malnutrition and poor living conditions are common, painting a stark picture of life for female soldiers in North Korea's military. Balancing the dual role of soldier and caretaker, these women face extraordinary demands with limited recognition for their extra responsibilities. Beyond the demanding workload and traditional roles, North Korea's decision to make military service mandatory for women marked a significant shift, motivated by dwindling manpower and a decreasing birth rate. The severe famine from 1994 to 1998 had a lasting impact on the population, creating a military personnel shortage. To compensate, the government began actively recruiting women into the armed forces. However, joining the military involves more than just signing up. New recruits must pass a series of physical and medical exams. Since 2012, a height requirement of at least 1.42 meters, around 4 feet 6 inches, was added, though it's said this rule is not always enforced strictly. There are even unconfirmed suggestions that particularly talented students might bypass service entirely. Before 2015, some women voluntarily enlisted, often driven by the potential benefits of Korean Workers' Party membership. This membership offered advantages beyond military life, such as increased rations, better job opportunities, and higher pay. In a country where daily rations are sparse, typically a bowl of rice, cabbage, soup, and salted radish, these perks were enticing, particularly for those stationed in Pyongyang's harsh winter climate. What do you think of the impact of mandatory military service on women in North Korea? Feel free to share your perspective in the comments. After completing their military service, many North Korean women face a reality that is lesser known: state-arranged marriages. Their partners are typically selected based on political loyalty or the state's determination that they should marry. These state-controlled marriages reflect North Korea's stringent control over personal lives, especially for women, framing marriage as a social obligation that strengthens loyalty to the regime and reinforces North Korea's patriarchal norms. Even after military service, Women are expected to take on roles that align with the state's authoritarian structure. This contrast between state-imposed marriages and the image of empowered female soldiers presents a thought-provoking question. Why does the regime promote an image of gender equality while imposing such strict control over women's personal lives? For years, North Korean media and films have shown female soldiers marching in sync, carrying out their duties alongside men, and holding weapons with confidence, an image carefully curated to convey equality within the military. But what lies beneath this portrayal? A 2022 report by the Korea Institute for National Unification revealed that nearly 40% of North Korea's armed forces are female, a statistic that seemingly supports the regime's image of gender equality. Yet, defectors' testimonies tell a different story, one where female soldiers face severe hardships and enduring challenges, contradicting the image of empowerment the state projects. North Korea's propaganda serves a dual purpose. Internationally, it portrays the nation as progressive and empowering to women, while domestically, it instills a strong sense of unity and patriotism by presenting a polished, idealized version of reality. But what truly lies beneath North Korea's depiction of women in the military? It's more than mere propaganda. It's a carefully engineered illusion aimed at obscuring the harsh realities these women face in uniform. Through this narrative control, the regime maintains its grip on its people and shapes how the world views the country. Beneath the facade of gender equality in military roles, the reality of government-assigned careers highlights how little freedom North Korean women actually have over their lives and aspirations. Everyday women face unusual regulations and strict limitations. In North Korea, career paths aren't personal choices. The government decides your profession, and you're expected to stay in that role for life. Imagine being assigned a job with no option to follow your interests. That's the reality for most North Korean women, whose lives are shaped by a rigid job allocation system in the name of resource management. Officials evaluate the labor needs of different sectors, then assign citizens to jobs based on state priorities. Declining such assignments has serious consequences. This system impacts North Korea's youth, who grow up knowing that individual dreams and career aspirations are not an option. They are taught to accept their assigned roles, with no room for personal ambitions, resulting in an economy stifled by lack of innovation and a workforce missing the flexibility essential for growth. Despite these harsh limitations, North Korean women show resilience, often becoming primary family earners and navigating immense challenges with remarkable strength. Beauty standards in North Korea are another area where the government imposes control, based on conservative values. Nail polish colors and skincare products are closely regulated, and political separation from South Korea after World War II led to limited exposure to cosmetics in North Korea. Despite these restrictions, a desire for beauty products persists, fueling an underground market for smuggled items. In response, the government launched a state-run cosmetics brand to manage the supply and demand. Red lipstick, deemed too bold for socialist ideals, is banned, although some women express quiet defiance by choosing softer shades that better fit the regime's preference for modesty. These strict beauty standards illustrate a conflict between personal expression and government mandates, raising questions about how these pressures shape the lives of North Korean women. As they navigate strict beauty guidelines, North Korean women also face mandatory military service, another indication of the regime's control over their personal and societal roles. Since January 2015, all women aged 17 and older must serve a mandatory 7-year military term. This law was introduced to reduce the burden on men, whose service was revised to 11 years. With women comprising over 10% of North Korea's military, their presence is both a response to manpower needs and a legacy of the country's challenging history. Today, North Korea's military numbers over 1.2 million, ranking it as the fourth largest globally and making its mandatory service policies among the world's longest. While North Korea promotes an image of gender equality by integrating women into its military, the reality tells a different story. Beneath the patriotic surface lie harsh conditions, gender discrimination, and limited recognition for women's sacrifices. These overlooked aspects reveal much about North Korea's societal structure and the struggles women face in a system that values control over genuine equality. Recognizing these hidden elements provides insight into the complexities of female military service within one of the world's most closed-off societies.